Good evening.
Yeah. Good evening.
Good evening. The Village of Lincoln Heights Finance Committee meeting is now called to order on Monday, November 16th at 6:30. Roll call, Ms. Randolph.
Councilwoman Laverne Mitchell,
Present.
Vice Mayor Jeannie Stinson,
Present.
Councilwoman Linda Childs Jeter,
Present.
Councilman Durance Daniels,
Present.
Councilwoman Tanya Key.
Present.
We have 5 who are present. We do have a quorum.
All right, thank you. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for all the mercy, blessing, and grace you have given us. Lord, we come to you this evening asking for your mercy as we go through the village financial affairs. Heavenly Father, we ask that you bless each and every one of us who is here today and those who may be viewing in. Lord, we ask you to give us the wherewithal that is needed to make sure that we are good stewards of the village's financial future. This we ask in your son's name. Amen.
Amen.
There's a motion in order for the acceptance of the minutes for October 19th.
Motion to accept minutes from October 19th, pending any corrections.
Second.
And properly moved in second. Any questions? No questions. Hearing no questions. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any abstentions or opposition? Thank you. All right, so the first thing on the agenda is the old business, which we typically review. Go through the minutes. One of the questions that we need to begin to look at is on page 2. And it's at the bottom. I want to discuss the solicitor's bill. Ms. Pope has sent that out to everyone, correct? You all received, I think it was that night, October 19th, that night after the meeting or during the one of the bills to you. Everybody get it? Hello?
Madam Chair, I wouldn't have it, but I'll be happy to just follow along with the conversation.
Okay.
And I'm looking through
Why
mine.
don't you, if you go to October 19th, maybe around 7 o'clock or so. All right, and so what I did in the minutes on the 3rd page, it does say that she was requested to distribute council the itemized monthly bill as well as the contract. Okay. All right, so the contract is year to year, and the concern was the amount of money that was the firm's bill. There's a flat fee, as it states, about $4,500, and then there is extraordinary fees for extraordinary charges that is outside the usual. And general practice fees are explained in the contract. So we won't go into detail, but one of the concerns that I have is the billing. Are we not billed on time, or are we paying on time? Because the one bill that we questioned, I think it was like $18,000. I believe that's what it was. So Ms. Pope, you want to explain how the solicitor,
So
how the billing works?
the bill, okay. So the bill in question, the one for 17,000, it was a double payment. It was for June and July. August billing, and the bill is sent to us. It should be sent to us 30 days. I mean, not 30 days, but after the month is over, it's sent to us within that month or whenever it's prepared by Mr. Desai. That's what I was told today. So he hasn't prepared September or October's bill yet. So when we receive that, it'll most likely be a double billing.
Sent us was the August bill
Right.
that was sent to us in October.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. But has that been paid?
That is in my accounts payable that will be paid this week.
Okay, but we got it in October, so we wait till the following month to pay it? Because I didn't see it in the check register.
We got it October 19th, and I did bills on October 30th, and I obviously missed that bill.
Okay. All right. Mr. Daniels, I noticed that in when the information was sent to you, your question, did you find it? Because you asked a question, you asked, why is it confidential?
Yeah.
But that confidentiality is, is the standard blurb that they put at the bottom of all, mostly business emails to say, if you get this by mistake, whatever, that's what that was. Not that the billing is confidential.
Yes, ma'am. I did have another question as it regards to the overall billing. When we get, if we're at questions, I want to allow other members of council to speak on.
Go ahead.
So my question is, if we haven't received the last 2 months' bills yet, and then we still have 4 months to go, and we already at $60,000 roughly, and with that we have $80,000 estimated. There's a potential that we might go over. I think it's 80, but I think we have a potential where we could potentially go over our allocated amount for what we planned on spending this year for Mr. Desai. It's a two-part question. Well, not necessarily a two-part question. I'll stick with that one. I'll let other council members ask. So if we do end up in a situation where we see billing is more than what we allocated for, what do we do in that situation? We have to make a motion amongst council to approve it. And in that case, do we get into a situation where if we don't approve it, he doesn't work for us, and now we're at a standby because he has leverage because we need a solicitor? I'm just trying to play these scenarios out of my head. If we're in a situation where our billing is more than what we allocated, what would be our steps to make sure that the business of the community keeps going, if that makes sense? I know that was a little long.
Yeah, well, typically what happens, just like with any other department, if they go over the budget, there's some department or some line item or fund that does not spend all its money. And so typically what Ms. Pope does, we do our supplemental at the end of the year where we balance out everything. We move something from here, we not rob, but take from Peter to pay Paul because Peter didn't use all his money yet. So Ms. Pope, you want to maybe put that in more financial terms?
That's exactly what we do is I give you guys a list. I ask for transfers or reappropriations into different accounts. So if his account is going over, if it was allotted for him to $80,000, then I would send you guys. I would request a resolution from Deepak so we can do transfers and account adjustments before the end of the year.
a follow-up, if that's okay. I didn't know if any other council members had questions or get too much into this.
Anybody else have go ahead, Mr. Daniels.
The extraordinary fees piece, I know there's some language in there in the contract. Some of the things I guess, is that negotiable, or is that a situation where you could look back and say, well, I'm not sure if that matches up. It just gets a little, it seems like we're not in a lot of control here, if that makes sense, as to how this building is going to come out at the end of the year. And it's not really based upon a massive need of legislation. It's just a little concerning. And I don't even know if this is a question, if it's more so me just getting this out, that it's just a little concerning that if the bill is worth $4,500, and even if we don't ask for certain things, even if it seems like sometimes it's just emails that's going to be brought up on there, and different type of conversations. Some of these things might be able to handle in another situation, or is there a way that we can now make it more efficient, maybe, where council has to approve some of these things before he just goes off and just spends it? Because now we're at a situation where if it does come to the end of the year and we do have to do these things, we're kind of in a bind. So I know it probably wasn't a question out of that, but I think what I'm trying to get to is that I would like to have a little bit more control from our end on how the billing comes out, if that makes sense. So that's my time.
Mr. Daniels, I would suggest that you go ahead and look at the contract for legal services, because in there, it is explained what the general services are. And a little bit to your point, I don't think that we can say, okay, wait, let us see what work you need to do and let us approve it before you do it. But I think that one thing that we can do, since the contract is year to year, we can certainly amend the contract to more specific as to what the extraordinary services say. Because the contract says that the extraordinary services are basically those that are not mentioned under general services. So, it's broad, and then, I'll give you a for instance, if we have to do something with the Board of Revisions because a landlord or property owner wants to contest their taxes, that is extraordinary service. So when he goes down to court and has to go through and find all that information to go before the Board of Revisions, that is extraordinary services. If there's anything that deals with court, that is extraordinary services. But I think that we could at least request that we do another contract for 2021 that sort of specifies what those extraordinary services are, what they could possibly be. Give an example.
Madam Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
I think we're bringing up great points. And I think one of the questions that I've always had was any extraordinary services that we are having to pay, have we successfully documented what those are, so that, to your point, if we find, looking at the data, that we're finding ourselves paying extra for one particular what have you, then of course we need to add it to our contract when we're reevaluating the contract. So that's my question is, do we have any analytics on what any of those services may have looked like? I can probably think of a few off the top of my head that we'll probably never get away from, for various reasons. But do we have anything that's kind of reoccurring that we can see? So that's kind of like one question. And the other one is, how is the services being performed? So basically, is the services performed from the directive of the village manager? is it coming from the directive of council, or their individual council people making directives that's making the services be in the extraordinary platform? I guess I'm kind of trying to see where all
Okay.
the
Not a
pieces are coming
problem.
from. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And I'm not necessarily saying you would have an answer for, and you might have some, but I'm just saying that's something that we probably
Right.
want to look at.
So again, so we'll make sure that you get the billing that we got for October, and I will ask that Ms. Pope send us out a copy every month when the billing comes. In the October 19th email that she sent, it has all of the billings. It has how many hours, what it was about, who it was for. And so when you talk about who is the directive come from, well, certainly the manager can say, I need you to do this. Ms. Pope can call and say, I need legislation. Not that it's necessarily extraordinary services. Any council person can call and ask a question and ask him to provide some information, especially if it's for your committee, okay? And so you will see all of that in the billing. Please keep in mind that all of the attorneys that we have had a firm behind them in the last, I guess, 15, 20 years, which is great. So if there is something that Mr. Desai cannot cover or handle, then he turns that over to his firm, somebody in the firm who can do that. And so when that happens, the bill might be a little higher because he comes to us at, let's say, a certain hourly rate, but his partners in the firm have their rate. So we would be billed at whatever their rate is. And all of that information is contained in that contract.
Yes, ma'am. May I
Yes,
have to
ma'am.
follow up or make a follow-up statement? And I think, so this is based on something that you just kind of pointed out, and I haven't seen it, so I don't know what's on it. But my concern would be if individually counsel, yes, we can ask questions if it pertains to our committee and what have you. But if those questions result in extraordinary costs, then I think that's something that we should talk about, because now we're expending extra finances from the village's budget because of whatever it is we want. And I think if it comes from a quorum from the committee, that's fine. Or if it comes from council, that's fine. But I think if we look at 7 people on council, right? We got 7 people on council, and we're all making requests, and those requests can then start adding up and adding up. So maybe it is, before the solicitor does anything, they notify us that got this request made, it's going to result in extraordinary services, which means there's additional fees, because I can't see us continuing if from what Mr. Daniels just said, we could potentially be in a situation where we're now having to pay more. And I know we've done that before because we've had extraordinary circumstances, but if it's just coming from one-offs, I don't think that's necessarily prudent to do, to spend the funds of the village for those things unless we got agreements from a quorum or agreements from council.
Okay, well, again, I'm going to encourage everybody to take a look at the billing that was sent out, because that would explain a lot. So there will be sometimes that most of the times when a council person calls, it's just general services rendered. Okay, but it depends on what the subject matter is. And so, if you, like I said, I think that we need to ask what the extraordinary services would be. But I just want to caution us on if there's some information that is needed to say, okay, wait, let me see if I can get approval. All right, and how long does that approval take? So that's why, we do need to talk about it, and put that in the contract. But I think what I had asked Mr. Desai to do was to come before the Finance Committee meeting next month, because he couldn't come tonight. But on second thought, I think I will ask the mayor to put him on the council of the whole, so that you all can have had time. That should give you enough time by Monday to look over the contract for legal services, look over what Ms. Pope sent us, so you have an idea and be able to ask him some questions and then understand his explanation as he does that. Mr. Daniels, you had a question?
Yes, I believe you kind of answered it as well. I'm just going over and looking over September's billing again, because some of the things, like I said, my biggest concerns are drafting emails, which in my opinion, you would think would be community business, especially when it comes to properties or those in my mind would be community business. But like you said, it's so broad. And
So when you say September, are you saying September or?
I'm looking at the bill the last bill that I have is the one that we would have gotten for September, which would have had August's stuff on there. So it would have been not, it doesn't have.
Oh, okay, we got it in October, but okay, I got it.
Yes,
Oh,
ma'am.
okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
We got it October 14th, 2020. That's the last bill that I've seen, unless somebody else has another one. Unless I'm wrong, Ms. Pope, is there another one? I'm not mistaken on that, right? The last bill that I've seen is 10/14/2020. And if not, I'll check my email, and that's on me.
Is Ms. Pope still on it? The only one that Ms. Pope sent us was the one for August that we got in October.
So yeah, like I said, just looking at that one, there's just some things on there where I'm concerned that in my mind that would seem like just normal business, and especially but that's just me. So
Okay. And
I'll leave it at
sometimes
that. Yes, ma'am.
when you say property, sometimes it depends on what the actual outcome or what he had to do. So if you're talking about, like I said, the Board of Revisions, or if we're talking about trying to, I think recently we had to do some conveyance at a property that had not transferred from the CIC. Okay, and so if you have to do something with the land bank, that is another attorney in the office. So sometimes that work has to go to another person to do that, and so that fee might be higher, but that would be extraordinary, because that's not in the usual, let's say, day to day. But let's hold the we have an opportunity to address them with Mr. Desai on Monday, if the mayor allows us to put that on the agenda for committee of the whole.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. And I will say, yes.
I'm sorry, just one more thing. I just got a copy of the email of the bill or the invoice. And if we could, so where it says extraordinary, I don't see a breakdown of extraordinary. Did I not get there?
Yeah, it's there. You have to kind of, yeah.
Okay, got to dig it out.
It'll say extraordinary.
Okay, got it. Thank you. And thank you,
welcome.
Vice Mayor, for sending that to me.
Okay, so again, one of the things that I will reiterate, we do need to get this information. We should have gotten this information before before tonight. Okay, I mean, so okay, but anyway, the other thing that we need to take a look at is, well, we got our sanitizing stations, so I'm sure the Vice Mayor is happy. Yes, ma'am.
I did see one and I am excited. Where are the rest of them? Where are they located?
Okay, Jamal.
Hey, Vice Mayor, I had to start putting them out. Hold on. We had started putting them out Thursday, and then I had a
Okay,
death in
we
the
got
family,
you.
so I kind of pushed it back. So we should have them all out this week. I'm gonna make sure that we obviously gonna secure them down with some chains. You should see them, and then what I would do is I'm gonna get a map and I'm gonna label them with some X's and locations, and I'll forward that to you if you want to send it. I mean, I give it to Ms. Pope, and that way she can forward it to y'all, so y'all know the locations of them. We kind of just put some at the stores for now. We put one at our corner, Yallows.
I didn't see
Fancies.
one in Yallows.
Well, I had one drop down there today, and in Fancy, so it's a total of 4 out, and then the bigger ones it's the ones you're gonna see by the school, the big 85 pounders. So, but we have them out probably tomorrow or Wednesday latest. So they all assembled and put together. We had to put them together. So, but they're all assembled and put together. So it's just mainly us just putting them out, securing them with the chain, and making sure they, they're not safe, but making sure they won't get took away. So.
And can I ask another question, Madam Chair?
Yeah, go ahead.
How long do we have the foam or whatever? How long will that last us?
We got a skid, so we got a pretty nice supply. I told Ms. Pope to just order some additional dispensers in case one get ripped off or, unfortunate or kid, they playing with it and it come off. But we're gonna order some more solutions. But we had a skid of like 70 1-gallon bottles. And when you fill up the sanitizer thing, they don't take a lot, but it's enough. But we're gonna order some more. So.
And do you have a schedule on filling them up? Because I don't want us to rely on the business to say, well, you're out of sanitizer. Do we have like a day we check it every day, on Thursdays, on garbage day, Tuesday? Yes.
Now on the business side, I gave them the option that they could take theirs inside when theirs closed. Like for example, Scotty's, to take it inside just to, if they don't want nobody, roaming up on their property at odd hours of the night. He has a key to it, and we could provide him with a gallon bottle. That's no problem. Just for reference, because I don't want it to, people walking up on somebody's property late at night, and somebody might get alarmed, even though they might be washing their hands. You don't want a person to be alarmed when So, but them are the smaller pedestals. The big ones are just going to be out. So, but they should be checked twice a week, basically. So. It's more as we are monitor the areas of the high traffic, and they have to be every day, then they just have to be every day. But that's it.
That's all I had.
Vice Mayor?
Okay.
That was it.
Okay. All right. As we look at the next page 3, is at the bottom. Have we, Ms. Pope, do we know if we are going to be able to spend the HIP money, or will that money be taken away at the end of the year?
No, that money is through June 2021.
And is that for both years or just this year?
Just
Right,
for one this year. It started June and it goes through June 2021.
Okay, so the amount that we got last year, that's gone, or is that also for next year?
No, the home improvement program actually started June of this year. The discussion was last year, but the program actually started, the funding for the program actually started this year.
And what was the amount?
$15,000.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Does anybody have any other update on page 3? Is there anything that you want to discuss? All right, so if we move.
Can I add to the
Yes.
to the HIP? I'm calling
Yes.
it HIP.
Yeah, that's what
Okay.
it is.
Okay. Is that something that we can potentially have the village manager once they are here to work on? I mean, as far as like a program, whether or not we're going to train people, have somebody come in and take residents come in that way, one at a time? Are we still trying to figure out how we're going to give this
Well-
free money away to people?
Right. I think, I mean, certainly the manager can do that, but I think we need to, because there's going to be so many other things. I think that I had mentioned to the mayor that I would assist with that. I think one of the things that I recently found out, which I had no idea of, was that there is a bank that will do loans for that amount. I contacted Joy because, well, actually I had contacted another banker to ask, who could I call? What bank, how would I approach our bank to do that? And so then Joy sent me the information saying that, and I think it's Northside, I have to go back and look at my email, that there is a bank that the residents can go to that will fund that, you know what I'm saying? Especially since it's such a small amount. So that is something that we need to put out there so that because one of the issues was this is the reason that I inquired. One of the residents said, Ms. Mitchell, I don't have the money to pay
be reimbursed.
right
Mhm.
now, right? And how
Mhm.
long does it take to be reimbursed? So I've asked that question and never got an answer. But so that's what made me think, well, shoot, if that person could get a loan, then I find out that there is a bank is willing to do that. I think that we ought to approach our bank, who we bank all our money with, to do it as well. So that opportunity is there. So the thing becomes, there's a loan when Hamilton County reimbursed, it goes probably right to the bank. So that's something that we do need to find out. And we probably need to find that information out. It'd be nice to find it out before the manager got here to say, hey, here's this. So that's not a whole lot of fact finding you would have to do. That's my take on it. But
Well, you know what my take on that is, you've already started the legwork. Run with it, Miss Mitchell.
well, I'll get with the mayor. I'll get with the mayor. but anyway, so that's what I've heard from 3 of the people that got
That's what I heard.
applications. Yeah, okay.
Good job, Miss Mitchell.
Oh, thank you, Jeannie. The other thing I think is on page 4. We do have attached to your report, your October report, you do have an update on all the funding. You know, we're talking about the CARES Act and all of that and grants management. So hopefully you have had an opportunity to take a look at that. All righty. Okay. Next on the agenda under old business is the audit. So and we've already talked about the HIP program. So on B, the reconciliation versus an inauditable audit. So we were faced, I believe, with a possible inauditable audit. So Ms. Pope, can you tell us where we are with the reconciliation? One of my concerns is, if we have not reconciliated our bank balance and our funds, how do we know how much we really have? I'm very concerned about that because we are spending but we don't, even though we have a monthly finance report, the reconciliation is not quite accurate because the auditors is doing that. And I think we're paying the auditors $5,000 to get it reconciled, and how much longer is that going to take? So where are we with the reconciliation?
Currently, they are reconciling 2019. And April Davis of the auditor's office is doing the 18-19 reconciliations. She's in contact with the original audit team, and they know that what she's doing is reconciling the 2 years, and they have accepted that with us moving forward with immediately contacting her and asking for her assistance in this. And they have decided to hold off on the inaudible filing. And so Miss April Davis is still working on that.
So did they give you a, so there's no idea like where we're off or how much we're off? I mean, we're going all the way back to 2019.
They're auditing 2018 and 2019 records.
Right.
Right. No, there's no amount given. The bank is higher than my books.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Did they give us a deadline on when we have to have it done? Have April's help? Did they give us a deadline before they go ahead with the filing? If that was something they had to do?
They originally gave us 120 days and no, I'm sorry, 120 hours. And with April communicating with them and us talking back and forth, they're not going to file that because they know she's working on it. And there has been some issues at the state auditor's office, such as their email system was down one time, the computer was down. Miss April was sick a couple times, so they know what's going on. And they are in communication with each other, the two teams.
Okay, so Ms. Pope, will you explain who the they is? Does everybody understand who the they is?
The
Ms.
they is
Key?
the auditors that started, they started June or July, and it was a team of 3 people. The supervisor, her name is Jennifer Baker. So, and then it was 2 other people. It was a Stephanie, don't know her last name, and it was a gentleman. So those 3 were originally sent out to start our audit process. And when they got to a point where they said our reconciliations are off, they said we have to figure out what's going on with our books. And they requested that we use the local government services of the auditor's office. And that's how we got in contact with April.
All right, so the reconciliation is not being done by the regular auditors. It is being done by an independent office, correct?
No, it's being done by the local government services of the auditor's office. It's a section in the auditors, the state of Ohio auditor. They have a local government services that will help the local governments because this is nothing that's unusual. So they have a team that supports the municipalities.
Okay. All right.
Madam
So,
Chair,
yes, I'm
I
sorry.
do have a question. How did this come about? Because we did our own audit internally, or was it just the regular audits that we have done as a local municipality?
The regular audits.
Okay, and so based on the regular audit findings, I just want to make sure I'm understanding where we're going. Based on the regular audit's findings, the auditors found that our bank record shows more than what we show internally.
Yes.
Right, but it wasn't, they haven't finished the audit, Ms. Key, as they were doing the audit. Okay, it looked as if the books were going to be inauditable, and then they went to the reconciliation. So the
Gotcha.
audit has not been done.
Gotcha. So instead of going through the work of completing the audit, they stopped and said,
Right.
it looks like it's something off. Let's readjust. Let's try
Yeah.
to find it. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank
any
you.
other questions? You're welcome. Any other questions? Okay, on the next agenda is the October finance report. Ms. Pope, I did not have an opportunity to find to get my September report, because the September report I had requested that you send us a corrected copy that week, you know, by that Friday. So we did not get that. So I am concerned as to where we are with the October report, because I know that there were some figures that were incorrect in the September report. So so you can go ahead and go through the October finance report. Has anyone gone through, and does anybody make sure that if you have any questions?
You want me to start?
Uh-huh.
Okay, the only number that I found that you questioned whether it was correct or not, it was our month-to-date, year-to-date fund report. And our month-to-date, year-to-date fund report, it was the correct number, because our month-to-date should be different than our year-to-date. So you had a question on whether those two numbers should be the same from the September report. You had, according to these minutes, it was a month-to-date detailed revenue, and the revenue by fund should be the same total, which they shouldn't, because the revenue by fund, the year-to-date revenue by fund is going to include January through September. The month-to-date is just that 1 month. So those numbers are correct. And that was the only number that I seen that you had, that the only figure that I seen that you had some concerns about. So as we go through October's report, October's bank balance at 10/31/2020 was $1,932,650.55. Our outstanding check report will include checks of $356,705.97. And that was the check run that I told you I did on October 31st or 30th on a previous conversation. So our total revenues by fund for the year-to-date receipts is $2,925,377. That shows a dollar increase of $581,248 from October 2019. And those numbers are, the numbers that are included are your CARES Act, both numbers. It's 349,120 from BOCC CARES Act. So that's why the numbers are so off there. That's the CARES Act funding. And also for the month of October, we received 2 payments from Greater Cincinnati Waterworks. And you'll see that in the detail. The month-to-date detail report shows revenues received of $301,321. Expenditures by fund, Year-to-date expenditures, $2,208,724. $2,208,724. And that's actually a decrease in spending from October 31st of 2019. Month-to-date expenditures report will show expenditures of $403,905, which is, of course, the same amount as our monthly check register for October. Our earnings tax report shows collection for October of $63,670. The residential collections that's included in that amount is $1,677. Our business collections is $3,020. And our withholding collections is $58,973. So on page 2, you will see the reconciliation report that is mentioned in our first line, the ending balance for 10/31.
Madam Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
is there any way that this can be shared? Because I didn't print it out, but I can see it on my phone, but I really can't. Is there any way that this report can be shared?
Yeah, I would imagine that,
Well, Ms. Pope, she's on her phone. Do you have it?
Oh.
Ms. Key, are you still the host? Because I can forward it to you. Do you mind, Madam Chair?
oh, no. But
I think I
then
might
Miss-
be still the
Miss Key
host.
should-
I think I might have it. Let me pull it up. I'm reading off of my paper copy, so let me pull it up right quick.
Yeah, because that's what I'm doing too, reading it off my copy, but I guess, we can all get to it.
I haven't been down to Village Hall, Ms. Mitchell, because I don't
No, I
like to
mean,
read
get to it
behind.
off your screen. I mean, we all could probably
Yeah,
get to
it's
it off
easier
the
that
screen.
way. Yeah, I don't want to go places. I don't.
Let me see if I can locate it.
I can tell you when it was sent, or I can send it to you right away.
If you want to, you can forward it to me out. That'd be
Yeah.
faster.
It's gonna be to that same one, because that's what comes up.
Okay, that's fine.
All right.
It's probably a big file too.
It might be like a PDF or a scan. I think it might be, I don't know what you call that.
Scanned Okay, I have it.
Okay.
All right. So did you want me to share the screen with that document, Madam Chair?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. I believe this is where we are. Ms. Pope, are you able to see the screen?
Yes,
Is this where we are?
yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Great. Oh, so much better.
So I just read the summary, or the financial narrative on page 1. And on page 2, this is the start of the fund reconciliation per fund. So total at the bottom of page 2, total month-to-date receipts was $299,595.71. And total withdrawals at the end of at the bottom of the page is $402,180.36. Again, once Ms. Davis finished the 18-19 reconciliations, we'll make the corrections to this year for all the reconciliations also.
Question,
Ma'am. Great.
where it says Greater Cincinnati Waterworks, why is that in the negative?
Okay, Greater Cincinnati Waterworks Collection, those are the fees. So that's an adjustment. The fees for the month of October was $1,725, $25.08. So what we do with Greater Cincinnati is we post the gross amount. And so the deposits is going to be off by that $1,725. And then the withdrawals are going to be off by $1,725, because on the withdrawals, we post the fees. So they have to balance each other out.
Is that the same with this 180257, 216, the rapid response? That's something we paid and we got to be reimbursed. Why is that negative?
That was a
That's the census, isn't it?
yeah, that's an adjustment to that 180257. It's an adjustment that we made to that fund.
What kind of adjustment? So we got a blanket amount. Did we not spend it all, or we always?
I made a correction on the charge that 1802 shouldn't have been charged to the rapid response grant. So I made an adjustment. So it took it away from that fund. So once a month, when I'm going through my detail reports and I'm making sure that I'm posting to the correct fund account numbers, when I do see that I have posted something to an incorrect account, I make an expense adjustment to that account. Once I print the reports, the detail reports. On page 3, list all our outstanding checks for the month of October.
All right, Ms. Pope, so let's start with all those high ones.
The
285.
The first
49,
one,
285.
that's Hamilton County Shares.
88.
The 50,412 is our annual insurance payment, village-wide insurance.
92.
That's the annual PEP payment. The officers and the citizens, the insurance is for us. Not citizens, but the other staff members.
Okay. 94.
That is the second half payment for Woodlawn Fire Department contract.
All right, and 19.
49,641, that's a quarterly payment for Rumpke.
Anybody else have any questions about the outstanding checks?
Okay, on page 4, the revenue by fund, this is a year-to-date revenue amount. That's why when I was explaining to you, Ms. Mitchell, that the September number was correct, because this is a year-to-date amount. When I report the revenue by fund, it's the year-to-date through October 31st or whatever date the report is. So it includes everything up to the report end date, the month end date.
Just refresh my memory about the Memorial Park project. Why haven't we added the 79,000 that we got from the grant? Because it's,
I think I calculated that at being a percentage of the 79,000, what we was gonna actually have to pay, but you probably should be the whole 79,000, because that's the amount that they're reimbursing us. But we haven't done anything with that, and that goes through December of 2021.
so when will it show up that we, I mean, I know that we don't have the money, quote, in the bank, so how do we show that? How do we show that we have it, we've been awarded, we don't do anything until we start spending it?
I think that's what we have to do. So for 2021, instead of putting in a percentage of what of the 79,000, we'll just put in the total grant amount for the revenues by fund. We'll put in the 79,000, 79. I think it was like 79,832. We'll put the whole amount in because that's the amount of the total grant.
Right,
That's
but
the
if
amount that we
we
reimburse.
appropriated 22, where would we put that appropriated amount? Wouldn't that be added to the 79 or no?
No, the 79 would be the revenue that we're going to receive. Now the appropriated amount. So if we spend, say I think the application, the grant application that we submitted, it was actually for 130. So if we spend 30, they're going to give us 79 of that back, because they're going to give us 75% reimbursed.
Right, but the 22 is what we show as our match, right?
No, we show the revenue by fund. Yes, you're correct. You're correct. You're correct. That's what the purpose of that was.
Okay, so for 2021, we're gonna carry this over. So would that amount come up to be the 110,000 in 2021?
We won't receive 110,000.
Well, I know
We'll just
but-
receive 79 from them, from the grantors. We'll just receive 79,000.
Okay,
If we want to expend, if we want to expend more than that, then we'll put it on the appropriation side as what we're going to spend out, but we're only going to receive 79. So we're not going to transfer additional 20 or 30 some thousand in there.
okay, so the 22 that we have currently there, should that be there under revenue by fund because it was an appropriation? I guess that's what's throwing me off. We didn't receive that. I guess we put it there because we appropriated that amount to show that if we got the grant, we were going to put 22,000 towards the grant as part of our 25% match, right?
And that's probably why I put that there, but I don't think under these funds, we should be actually putting the amount that we are going to receive from them, not our match. We're going to put the amount that we're going to receive from them under the revenues. Under the appropriations, we can say we're going to spend 130 something thousand, but that'll come out of the general fund.
Right. So my question is that 22,000 supposed to be there for revenue?
No, it's not.
Okay. So we're going to take that out. We'll see that taken out next month, right?
Right. We can take that out next month. But what we're going to put in there for 2021 is the whole 79.
Right. Yeah, right. All right.
Okay, so on page 5, is your detailed revenue month to date. And Greater Cincinnati, almost at the top of the page, maybe a third way down, is 31,225. It's $31,225. So Ms. Stinson, Vice Mayor Stinson, we had to post that gross amount, 31,225, and then we had to post the fees of 1,700. So that's why you see 1,700 on the front page, on the reconciliation page for Greater Cincinnati Waterworks. We also received the very first line. We received what's that? 68,000 for from tax, earnings tax.
60.
Is that 68 or
Yeah.
63?
60.
I don't know.
That's 630, isn't it? Is that what you're talking about?
No, in the middle line, month to date receipts. Is that an 8 or a 3?
I think it might be 63.
3,
Yeah.
60. We received 63,960,
116.
which is good for our tax department, our earnings tax. At the bottom of the page, even though we already talked about it, we actually received the third amount for our CARES Act. It's 326-000-4190 HB 481 CARES Act local distribution. We actually received the third distribution in the month of October, and it was $120,684. We also received rollback and homestead exemption taxes, and that amount is split amongst our funds. So it would be in general fund, the police levy fund, the police fund, the fire fund, and the infrastructure levy. So we received that. That check was 47,000. On page 6, the total year-to-date expenditures by fund, that's at 2 million. We talked about on the summary page, $2,208,724. On page 7, 8, page 7 and 8 is your details for your month-to-date expenditures, month-to-date, year-to-date expenditures.
Can I ask a quick question, Madam Chair?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Pope, did we already pass the part where you told us how much total we had for the COVID relief fund, CARES Act fund versus how much we spent, how much we have left over?
No, we didn't go through that.
That's what we have it at the end, Vice Mayor. Is that what you're talking about? Ms. Pope, you have all that at the end, right? In
Yeah.
your update.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, just
Yeah.
long as we have it somewhere. Okay.
Right.
All right, thank you.
Okay. You're welcome. Page 9 is the where you see all the 9 and 10 is where you see all the checks that were issued for the month. And we already went over the big outstanding ones. On page 11, is the breakdown of your tax report, and also your comparison from September. September and October. I usually try to put 2 months on there so you can see what we received the month before.
Ms. Pope, go back to page 9, please.
I had a question too, I think.
So, 49,302 halfway down, Anthony Hudson for $4,200. That's for
That was a refund.
a tax refund?
Yes. Let me make sure that was a tax refund. Okay. Anything else?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, I was waiting. Miss, didn't you have something, Vice Mayor?
Yeah, so Village of Woodlawn that's not a monthly payment, right?
No, it's a biannual. We pay
Okay.
them with our property taxes in April and September. Well,
Okay.
we receive our property taxes in April and September. So once we receive the invoice, which I think it came in October, send that out to him.
You talking about Village of Woodlawn?
Yes. Their
Right,
fire department, their contract.
that comes from our levy.
Yes.
So Ms. Pope, the other one, who was Dunn Robin Associates? I don't recall seeing that before.
That's us, the Safe Routes to School people. The people are doing the property,
All the assessment and all of that?
yes, that's Dunn Roberts.
Okay, so let me ask this. Why are we paying for that? Will be reimbursed for that out of Safe Route to School? Because we didn't have a match for that, or we didn't have to pay anything towards that grant, right?
No, we'll be reimbursed for that.
Okay, and do we know when we'll be reimbursed?
That I do not know.
Okay,
Madam Chair,
yes, ma'am.
on that same topic for the Safe Routes to Schools, it was like 20-something thousand dollars that had not been identified in that document that we read at one of our previous meetings.
Uh-huh.
Is this part of the fees? Is this part of that $20,000 fee, or $20,000 or $25,000 that is going to come from that grant? Because it seemed like most of the grant was administered by their groups, whoever is selected. All the monies would funnel down through them. We'd have to do it as a pass through, is what I understood.
Right.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that was my understanding.
Uh-huh.
Right. You have any more questions? I'm looking at, as I get in my program, I'll let you know who that one was. The Robert guy.
Dunn Robin.
No, not
The Hudson guy?
Anthony Hudson. I have to sign into my program.
Okay.
So do we have any more questions while I'm signing in?
Yeah, I got a little question.
Okay.
When you said that, yeah, we're going to be reimbursed for that Safe Routes to School money, what's the process to be reimbursed? How do you get reimbursed?
Well, with Safe Routes to School, I'm really not familiar with their process, but after speaking with Mr. Desai and Stephanie Roberts, our engineer, and they were telling me that when I questioned that payment also, they were telling me it would be reimbursed. And the way they do OPWC is as they're paying vendors, they reimburse us. So I believe on this part, Stephanie Roberts, which is our engineer, she'll submit reimbursement request, and then it'll come to us. But I can confirm that with Ms. Roberts for you, Vice Mayor.
And the reason why I'm asking is because I don't like being 2 months behind on being reimbursed or whatever the process is. Let's get our money right away. And if it's money out there that we need to be collecting, I'd like for us to collect it. That's
Okay.
all. We'll make
Okay.
sure we get our money back.
Okay.
We've been waiting a long time for this Safe Routes to School.
Yeah, they said it
Thank
usually
you.
is a 4-year process, 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
I was for real.
Mhm. Okay, we were on page 12. I don't know why I can't get in here. I'm in the different office, but I'm trying to find it.
Oh, you can let us know.
Yeah, I'll let you know. On page 12, it was a request for us to have a funding begin date and then an end date. So and also a update for all of the funding projects that we have. So what I did was include the updates in this October report. Unfortunately, the first one, the balance of the Lincoln Heights Former High School YMCA, 185,000 will go back to the go back into that CDBG fund because the asbestos is more than the funding that we have available. If you see at the second paragraph, the funding is estimated at 500,000, and we only have a balance of 185,000. And there's no other funding available at this time that we either apply for that or it's just simply available. And through conversations with Joy and Joy Pearson, we couldn't use this funding for anything else. We couldn't combine it. I think I asked her about securing the building, maybe putting some cameras up around, because there were some concerns on whether we still had squatters in the building. But she said we couldn't use that for that. We couldn't use it for anything. So she said it's basically going to go back into the pot and we'll just have to apply for it at a different time.
Oh, I don't want to hear that.
Madam Chair,
Yes, sir.
so we couldn't at least just got the process started, like it had to be all or nothing. So, I mean, 300,000, yeah, that's a lot of money, but 185 is a lot too. So the process of at least getting the asbestos removed, couldn't it get started with those funds or?
When I talked to her about if the village would, if council would agree to put in the other 110 or 115,000 from our funds, would that be a situation that we could start with phase 1? And she said no. At first she said 300,000, and then she said, well, it's going to be well over 500,000.
Once
Mr.
again,
Daniels.
why? I'm sorry. Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry.
So one of the things that you don't want to have happen is to start something like that and then let it sit and then not know if you are able to finish it, because it just worsens the situation.
I guess because I was thinking the exact opposite, Madam Chair. I'm thinking that the fact that the hole is already there, I guess I'm saying there's already a hole there, that it's already some things getting sprayed out. You know, I'm not, once again, I'm not quite sure what's being sprayed out. So that seems like it's a health issue. So to just say it's either all or nothing seems kind of preposterous to me. I'm sorry if I'm the only person here, then that feels that way. I apologize, but that's a little appalling that it's either all or nothing. You can't even get started. We're talking about asbestos in a building. And
Mr. Daniels, I think you don't have to apologize. You know what I'm saying? You have to look at what was the purpose of the CDAP grant. And if we didn't meet that purpose, then the county, as with any other grant that we have had and then lost, because we did not meet the requirements of the grant. So,
and I'm sorry, Madam Chair. My only, and I'll stop on this one, because she also mentioned that we didn't even get an opportunity as council to even decide if we wanted to match it in some type of way. Because like you said, we, you know, the funds from the COVID situation, they are what they are. Who knows what could have happened? I'm just a little confused on the process maybe then. And maybe if that's the case, then I apologize once again. If I'm not sure, if I missed that on the process and I'm holding up everybody's time, because you're like, well, nah, you missed that on this meeting where we talked about this is how the dollars are going to be. It's either all or nothing. Then if not, I'm a little upset that we weren't presented any options, unless we were.
okay, so Mr. Daniels, if you read, I think it's in here. I think I read it, but actually we should have expended the grant some time ago. Is that correct, Ms. Pope?
Well, this project is started back in 18, I believe, when we first applied for it. And according to this update that I gave you guys on 11/6, she said it was supposed to be expended by December 31st. But we didn't get a notice about that on December 31st, 2019, because the last document that I believe that Mr. Dukes was involved in was the asbestos report, not the asbestos report, but maybe it was the Historical Society report. So we kept getting pushback on different things that had to be accomplished before we could do anything. And now we're down to October, November, and she's saying that the money can't be used. We don't have enough money in order to get this project started.
And I think it was when they were looking at, because we got, when the man was over there and was stopped and we had to do the historical review, they allowed for that. They allowed time for that. That kind of hurt us, as well as took money out that had not been planned for. So we just have to make sure that, as we are planning for grants, that we do our due diligence and try to complete them. The Vice Mayor.
Yes, ma'am. So I think that I can remember this because I was on council at this time, that we were told that it was on hold because they were trying to do something historically.
That's it. That's what the historical review was. Someone said, oh, it's a historical building, you shouldn't tear it down, da. So I think it was a concern of a resident. And so, as the county's going to do, they try to do their due diligence to find out what the historical perspective was.
Okay, I still kind of feel like we kind of dropped the ball on this one, because if the historical piece wasn't moving forward, that didn't mean that we should have stopped trying to.
Yeah, we could have tried to find
Feeling a
some
little
additional
responsible
money or something. Yeah.
So I'm sorry, Madam Chair. One
Go
question.
ahead.
So just so I'm clear, it seems like the ticket amount or the dollar amount to remove the asbestos, the remediation estimate is $500,000. We at least have a dollar amount on that, correct? So we at least know if we're going to ask for a dollar, if we're going to make an ask, we at least have a dollar amount to make that ask for, correct?
But you
Right.
see on the very next line, it says phase 2 of the demo of the building could cost 800,000, 300,000 to, no, I'm sorry, 300,000 to 500. So that's additional 500,000. So now you're talking about dollars.
$800,000 total for the project. I got you. Okay. Well, well, my biggest thing of always has been the asbestos piece. This context, my father's a chemical safety engineer, and that was getting the stories on that asbestos stuff is just scary. So the idea that it's just still floating in the air is scary. So I don't know if it's floating in the air. I want to put the ideas out there that it is. I just know there's a hole in the roof with that stuff kind of being out there.
Daniel,
So,
let me address that hole in the roof, if I may.
yes, ma'am, please.
Ever since 2005, I have asked every manager except for Mr. Dukes to plug that hole. When they tried to set the building on fire, in 2005, December 2005, I went to council. I asked them, hey, we need to plug that hole. And every time a new manager come in, it's like I even tried to do it when I was the mayor. Fire department was saying, oh, we don't have a ladder to get up there. I tried to find somebody to see if there's a way that we could rent something from Central Tool, but it was always a pushback. It's like, oh, we can't go up there and do that. I mean, I never understood. I don't understand why we didn't even, I don't know if we used our insurance money to try to fix the hole or anything like that. So that hole that has been up there, that is on the village, because we should have done something about it before now.
Can I ask you a question, Madam Chair? And I promise you, I mean, absolutely, this is coming from
okay.
Yeah. So, because I know you were putting as a village manager in a precarious situation. It wasn't the most ideal situation, but being there, sitting in that role, what do you think is the biggest obstacle that is? Then is just covering that up, because like you said, you've seen it on a lot of different ways. My biggest concern is just getting that plugged up at this point. I know we probably should have talked about this in safety. This is no longer a finance issue at this point, but I think we got a dollar amount on how to fix it. So what is the biggest obstacle then of just covering that thing up at this point?
Biggest obstacle is just having the equipment. I would imagine now that we're working with Woodline, that they ought to be able to use their equipment to go up there. They have a ladder high enough to go up there and at least tarp it. So that's what we need to do, is look at asking Woodline, what can they do to go up there and fix it?
Can our service department, I know Jamal's on the line.
Well, not our service department, but the fire department, because if it was a fire, that's what should have happened.
No, I'm asking. Well, I was just going to ask if Jamal from our service department, if he just had any recommendations as well, just on this on it as well. If he had any suggestions on it as well.
Just use Woodline Fire. They already got a ladder. I mean, they cut that's the hole is because of the fire to ventilate the building, but the old tarp was just wore off over the years. I mean, that was probably 15 years ago, but
There's never been a tarp up there. It's never been covered.
There was
Not
a tarp
that
up
part.
there.
There was a tarp up there. It was a tarp up there.
It was a tarp.
It deteriorated over the years.
I think it also blew down through Hurricane Ike. When Hurricane Ike came through, that's when I recall the tarp being missing at that point.
Correct. So I'm sure Woodline can. I mean, they're assist. I mean, they train on the building, so I mean, I can't see that being a problem.
Well, at least the positive, though, I think we have a dollar amount to go after to at least to try to get that at least remediated. So I'm sorry I took us off key, Madam Mayor, but thank you.
All right. I think one of the things that we first need to understand is, Ms. Pope, what was the intent of the $220,000? What did the grant ask for? $220,000 to do what?
Well, we originally asked for 300,000, and that was to design and propose a multi-use building. So maybe apartments at the top and then businesses at the bottom, because we were going through those economic development meetings, and that was what the some of the conversation was about. So we originally asked for 300,000, and they gave us 220,000, and then the first 20 was they did almost the same thing that the economic development department had done, committee had done, which was they had ULI, and they were, I guess the basis of the ULI was to see what could go in that area. So, and what would survive in that area. And
So the original intent of the grant was not to remove the asbestos, but as we looked at what we had to do, if we wanted to put something there, then it was realized that that's what, so a lot of it, because that is not what we intended the CDAG grant to be, correct?
Yeah, and what happened was you had a resident who wanted it to be placed in the historical society, and I guess when they when using these federal grant monies, if there is an individual or groups out there who say that this should be used for something else or should be placed in a historical review, they go through the steps that they have to see if it can be placed amongst the historical society. And then while they were doing that, that's when they discovered the asbestos. And so, and then by that time, Mr. Dukes was here. So they had conversations back and forth about what that building could be used for. And his ideas were different from the original grant application.
All right, so the point that I want to make is that, again, we have to be careful when we go to apply for grants, that we have done our due diligence and understand what the grant is for, how much money we need, do our research to make sure that we ask for what we need. And well, you always ask more than what you need. So we have to be clear on our intention of the grant. So,
Madam
all right,
Chair,
yes.
just one more thing, and this will probably end up again in one of our other committees about this building. We hear a lot about the historical aspect of the building, and based on what I'm seeing here, it still doesn't look like it's gone through that full complement of what needs to take place to whether or not it's determined historical or not. Looks like we were, and maybe I'm trying to understand this, that we were getting ready to pay the $15,000, or we were going to pull it from that grant to pay it to determine whether or not the building is historical. My concern is the next phase, whenever we get ready to review this again, that's going to come up again. So at what point are we going to either have the determination made, determine who needs to pay for the determination be made, because I know it's a cost to it. And even if the building is deemed historical, it still needs to be remedied. So, well, I think we need to make some decisions, whether we're going to, wait or remedy it first and then see if it's historical after we rectify the asbestos.
We should find out.
I think we just need to make a decision.
Ms. Poe, what did you get the results of the historical review?
So that's when you have to include Mr. Dukes. He received a report about the historical review. I don't know what was in there.
Okay, so we need to have Ms. Watson look through for that, or we need to have the mayor call down and ask for that historical review. Okay, yeah. I mean, but I do know that if we're going to do all that, and if, we would have to fill out, it's all about an application process. Mm-hmm. It's an application process, and fees. And over the years, the folks that I have talked to, they're, as far as architecturally, there is nothing historically, architecturally about the building that would make it historical, architecturally. Okay, there's nothing unique about the building, the way it was made. So I think we need to have the mayor get the view rather than trying to find it in the manager's office. Just call down to Ms. Pearson and ask her for, for the report.
Madam Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
each time that we get to what we want to do, the thing about it being historic comes up. There's always somebody to stop it. We need to tear it down. Everybody take a break. Start fresh.
So what we'll do, Miss Jeter, is ask for that report so that we are able to let those folks who want to stop it know what the officials have said, what the Historical Society has said. And that will end that. And I think that we should continue to pursue funds and what we want to see in that spot. I agree. It's already been determined. We've got two pieces of legislation that say that it should be demolished. Group of people, including Ms. Key, worked with the civic agenda, and that's what those residents came up with. It is in our civic agenda that recommends that something be done with the building. We've got two pieces of legislation to say that. So let's get the historical review and then we can move forward from there. That will be something that the new manager can for her 2021 goals and objectives.
And Madam Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
One thought, you brought me back to those conversations we had before. And one of the things is we do want to honor our history. And what way can we do it without, removing or just kind of, we don't want to bury our history. So if we want to erect something, and we talked about different ways that we can still honor it, even if the building itself is not historical, what comes behind the building and what comes behind our community is something that we want to honor and we want to respect.
Okay,
Yes.
are we
I
finished
think
with
she
that?
might be.
I think she locked up.
Yeah, I think she locked up on you.
And I think she may have been ready to move on.
Mhm.
So if anybody else in the committee had anything to say.
Agree with your last statement.
I say keep it moving. If she want to come back when she get back, we'll go back.
Okay. Then Ms. Pope is back in your ballpark.
So on page 13, we have the 2019 code enforcement. That grant, it ended 6/30/2020. And the balance of the 15,000 allotment was $5,362. That money will go back into the CDBG funds. The 2020 code enforcement, it still has a balance of $10,146.
So Ms. Pope, do we have a plan to spend the whole 15,000? I mean, we don't want to keep sending money back. Do we? Because we're at the end. I'm sorry.
We went through 3 different code enforcement personnel in 2019. So it was a process of requesting the funds. And but what I should be able to do, I'm going to verify this, is I want to actually charge Mr. Willis's whole salary to code enforcement, so we can use up that, well, $15,000 of his salary, so we can use that up. So I'll have to, so, on, maybe this weekly pay, a bi-weekly pay, it'll be charged to code enforcement opposed to split in half. I don't know if I can do that. I'll have to make sure that I can. If I provide the documentation, I don't see why that would be a problem, but so it's $10,000 left in that. And Jamal is going to give me the reports that I can submit. It was submitted through August. The reports were submitted through August, so he's going to give me September and October monthly report, so I can send that down and get that reimbursement, because we don't want to use that up. Even though 2020 code enforcement, it's through 7/30/2021. So there's no doubt in my mind that we're going to use that up over the course of the next year. The home improvement project, did Ms. Mitchell come back yet?
I'm trying to see, I see somebody's number that's waiting and I can't confirm her number. And
Is it 608? Say 60 something?
it ends in 174. I thought that was Miss Baber.
I believe that's Miss Bader.
Okay, I just saw her waiting, but I don't see Miss Mitchell back in.
I'll give her a call.
Okay, thank you.
So the home improvement project, we sent down 3 applications. They still need pieces of documentation. We had one that only needed one more quote. Ms. Watson has been updating the request from the different applicants, so we can submit that down to the county to use up that money. That money is good through July of next year, July 30th, 2021, that we have to use that. And again, there's been conversations about having a virtual session. Ms. Watson did do robocalls to get the people to fill out the applications. And then also we're gonna still incorporate it with Mr. Willis when he's issuing a code enforcement citation to just hand them an application, or I don't think you can put it in a mailbox, but put it in their doorway or something like that. So if we incorporate that along with the citations, we should be able to get that money used up a lot quicker.
Okay, Vice Mayor.
I really think that we need to put something else on there. They need a contact number, somebody that's gonna work with them one-on-one. Because I hate to have this money and it doesn't get used, but there is a need. And some people are prideful. They don't always.
Exactly. And that's what
So we need to figure out a Saturday or some way we can get these people down here and get this money passed out to them.
Okay.
That's just me. Because we've been talking about this for a long time. Who doesn't need $1,000 for repairs?
Right. And I think that some people think that, oh, it's only $1,000. It's not going to do everything. But if we can help them see, it will help them, do one step. Then next year they might be able to apply again, or as long as they apply, we will continue to get funds so that they can continue to apply. And I think that's the biggest thing, is to kind of break down some of those barriers, because, we saw when Habitat for Humanity came in and was offering $1,500 worth of work for the homes, and a lot of people took advantage of that, and their houses look great because of it. And so we just got to continue to, educate them on the steps. I know the process is daunting because I saw the paperwork myself, and some people don't understand that when you deal with government, there's paperwork involved. And so I agree, Vice Mayor, if we can have maybe a workshop where the families who are interested in doing something can come down to the village and can have somebody there that can help walk them through that process, at least get the application submitted. We can't guarantee that they'll get the funds, but at least we can help guarantee that they can submit a complete application. All right, thank you, Vice Mayor.
I would even suggest that maybe if we had to do some light refreshments for people, do a fun robocall. Who, I got $1,000. Who needs $1,000 to, we got to do something to get their interest.
Right.
Pizza and telling them I got, anybody want free money? I got free $1,000 if you come down here in such and such and such.
Yeah, we may
we got to do something.
Schedule it. Yeah, we do. Mr. Daniels, I saw your hand up.
I'm all for that. I just want to make sure, are we all good of letting folks in Village Hall?
I was just about to say that too. We may have to schedule it.
I'm all good for it. I don't even know the process at this point on how to, it's like we close it down and we never, once I don't even think it's the right meeting for it, but we close everything down and we never really had a process how to open everything back up. And it's just something to think about.
We're doing mayor's court.
But once again, this is finance meeting. I think I know why we're doing mayor's court, and I'm not against why we're doing mayor's court. But if we're going to do it for that, community engagement, I feel like it's just as important as finances for me. But
I think we closing down the building and then reopening it. We were following DeWine's rules and maybe even the county rules, because when the county opened back up the courts, we opened back up the courts. But the county, most of their buildings a lot of their buildings are not open. And I think down at City Hall, they just closed that one back down. So
yes, they did.
I think we were following.
Yeah, we talking about this, and then we got a spike. We got another spike coming up, but I'm all for it. I hate to be the guy for that one.
You mean that was a fair statement.
We can do one-on-one Zooms too.
Yeah,
I love that.
Virtual. Schedule a virtual one-on-one.
Yeah.
And go with it. Because I think people are interested. All the people I've talked to said that they're interested, but when they saw the paperwork, they kind of got a little shy. It's a lot of paperwork. And their thing is that's a lot of paperwork for $1,000. And like I'm saying, but I need you to fill it out for that $1,000 so that we can then get more. So we can work on that.
Madam Tanya.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, let me speak for the old folks. If you got all these ailments and diseases and stuff that is taking us out, remember that our death rate is going up. You might want to think a little different about people coming into certain areas together.
Oh, yes, ma'am. We definitely.
That's a custom battle for old folks. Once you get old, and you all are going to get there, then you will understand that just some things that they have asked you not to do. Mm-hmm. And they're asking right now for folks not to do certain things. Coming into City Hall for a county, for a village meeting, to me doesn't make sense. I'm not coming, even if I have to resign from council, I'm not coming. Because I'm sick and it's hard for me to get well. And if you've been to the point where you couldn't breathe, then maybe you may understand some of the other folks out there that are going to abide by the rules. So, when you think about the folks who have issues. If you got a child at home with asthma, you might want to reconsider some of that stuff.
All right, thank you, Ms. Childs-Jeters. It looks like we have our committee chair back. I just let her back in, and the mayor also chimed in. Ms. Mitchell, are you back in? She might be still getting her audio. Ms. Pope, while she's getting her audio together, you want to go ahead and continue?
Okay, we were on
Serenity Park.
Serenity Park. Serenity Park, we were allotted $20,000, and we spent everything except for $36.95. And the $36.95, I was trying to get some additional benches, but the vendor couldn't produce them by the 31st of October. So 3695 went back to that, to the CDBG fund.
Okay.
The 2019 acquisition and demolition, that project goes through 6/30/2021. And they are still, right now, the last conversation I had with Deepak, he was trying to find if anybody knew the guy because we need to get the cars removed. And so he was going through the next processes of getting the vehicles removed off of that property. So that's where that is standing.
And will you remind us what that property is again?
That is 1032 Bills, 1032, 1023. It's the house close to the corner of Bills and Leggett where it's fell in. And it is a safety issue. So we have all the other documentation that's required to demolish that building, except he is still currently the owner. And he does frequent the lot with vehicles. He's in and out of vehicles. So they want to see how they can remove those vehicles or if he would even remove the vehicles.
We may have to get someone involved because if the building is a hazard, we wouldn't want anybody driving their vehicle over there and it's a hazard. Well, we have Ms. Mitchell back. Ms. Mitchell? I can't, you're on mute.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
You're all on page 13, right?
Yes. All right, Ms. Pope?
So, Ms. Mitchell, we were talking about the demolition project. So Deepak is Mr. Desai is trying to get the information to remove those vehicles. Mr. Willis, have you heard anything else? I haven't heard, Mr. Desai went through some family issues last week, so I haven't heard from him regarding the demolition.
No. No, I haven't.
I think
Madam
the last
Chair,
sent was, did anybody know the owner?
I think the mayor was trying to talk.
so I was waiting for her to say yes, but anyway, okay. The address is actually 1023 Bills. And Mr. Desai did reach out and ask me, I think it was Thursday or Friday last week. And I had, I didn't have any information on that. I did talk to Mr. Crawford, but he wasn't, which was yesterday, and he wasn't, he didn't have any information for me as well. Someone was there that mentioned that he may even went back to California, but I don't think so because the cars keep moving. But that's all the information I got, because they can't tear the house down, which I think they're going to have to do a wrap around because it's asbestos in the house. So it's going to be a certain procedure they have to do in order to even, as they demo the property.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
didn't we do something similar to how we had to do down on Lindale with the incident down there? When it gets to be a health hazard, you call in reinforcement.
I thought we did.
I'm saying for the house. Can't we do the same thing that we did with that situation with the house? This is a health hazard. If we can't reach the owner, it has to be something else that we can do to keep our people safe.
Madam Chair, Vice Mayor, that was one of the first things they wanted to try to see if he would move it, but they're going to move to the next level of, which is going to mean we have to go to court to get it moved. But they need to get this done ASAP. So I'm sure we'll get more information from Mr. Desai Monday on it, since we couldn't reach him.
The thing with court is if it's an emergency and all the courts are not open, how does that work? Well, we'll ask Mr. Desai. Okay.
All right, I have a question about the the code enforcement. So we have $10,000 left that has to be expended by the end of the year.
No,
When does it
July
have to be?
21.
Oh, okay. So is this for activities or is this for salary?
So it's for his, yeah, it's for his salary, which includes citation and everything like that. Everything that he does in the code enforcement area department. So it is for his salary, 15,000 towards the salary.
And
And supplies and anything that he does that is relating to code enforcement. So no, not just salaries. It's include, like if he orders supplies, I submit a disbursement request for that. If he
So-
orders, or
so let me ask you this, Ms. Pope. The so was part of the supplies the booklets that the color-coded booklets that Mr. Dukes had done that
yeah,
basically have, I mean, those are useless because it's not carbon. They have to write the information again.
okay, because of the type of books that Mr. Dukes wanted to order, those could not be carbonless. I mean, it couldn't, you had to use a sheet of carbon between them. It couldn't be carbonless because of the thickness of the book.
So, okay. So what do we, I guess, well, when the manager comes, we need to rethink that because that is a waste, that is unproductive for them to have to write it twice. And there's got to be a way. We have to redesign those books. That was a waste of money. Secondly, how is code enforcement as far as salary and hours recorded?
So he, Mr. Willis gives me a monthly report. And so on that spreadsheet, it includes how many it includes the project, the date, the project, whether it's still closed or open, how many hours he was working towards it. So he gives me that report monthly. He should be giving it to me monthly. And then I submit that with also documentation as far as his phone bill. Half of his phone bill is charged to code enforcement. A tablet is charged to code enforcement. Any supplies or anything that he orders at that, within that month is charged to code enforcement. And of course, his salary. His salary, I submit his a copy of his paycheck stub with all the document, all the important. Yeah.
I think one of the things that might be helpful to us, I'm not so much concerned about the salary, but as the service department, there should be a code enforcement report coming to us so that we see what is being done. You know what I'm saying? Where code enforcement is happening, how many citations there are, because right now, as far as I'm concerned, I'm in the dark about code enforcement, period, because by the looks of things, it doesn't look like it's happening. But if it is happening, we need to see it on paper so that when a resident says, why haven't y'all done so-and-so? I can say, oh, well, we did it on whatever street, or this is what we're doing. Because right now we get, we get a report from just about every department, but service. I mean, there's no reflection on Mr. Willis, but if you're getting some information and this code enforcement is this big thing out here that we can't touch, we need to at least be able to see what's going on. So that's what I was asking, what are we doing with code enforcement in terms of the person's time. The money and the salary, that's okay. But for right now, I don't see where we're using the money.
Okay.
Vice Mayor. Vice Mayor.
I thought service department had cell phones. I thought they had cell phones because I remember one time I said, well, I'd love to have my cell phone bill paid. So why are we paying half of a cell phone bill when I thought service department had cell phones? I thought the mayor, village manager, and service department had cell phones.
Half of the bill for the service department, and since he's code enforcement, half of that bill, his monthly bill is charged to code enforcement.
I'm
Because
confused.
he doesn't have a separate phone. He doesn't have a separate phone for code enforcement. He has a village phone. And so that phone, the bill for that, for his number is divided by 2. It is charged to the village. Half of it is the village and the other half is code enforcement.
So when you say village, you mean general village, right?
Yes. Did I explain that right, Ms. Stinson?
Yeah, you're not paying his cell phone bill. You're paying the village's cell phone bill.
Yes, yes. Oh, no,
Yeah.
we're not paying his.
Okay, so let's go on to the home improvement project.
Madam Chair, I'm sorry, I had a quick
Oh,
question on code enforcement. Just wanted to bring it to everybody's attention. Brother Jamal and I happened to see a disturbing display of trash on Friday. It's a home that's owned by somebody who's living, well, the homeowner is from Nevada, according to Cages, but I am not over exaggerating when I say it is a foot of trash, like literally a foot of trash that has been compacted to a point where it's now a foundation. So I know we just talked about safety hazards and things of that nature, but where we just cleaned out a nice spot there on the back of Van Buren. And Brother Jamal, I don't know if you want to describe it better than if I'm not describing it the right way, but it's literally like the trash has now become the foundation of that yard behind Van Buren. The actual address is 1096 Jackson Street. So I wanted to bring that to everybody's attention as we were talking about code enforcement.
So how do we rectify that, Mr. Willis? I mean, if we've got code enforcement and there need to be, use those doggone stickers, what are we doing to rectify it? If you all saw it, then code enforcement should have addressed that some time ago. And if that's the case, it sounds like it's a case for Hamilton County Health Department.
Basically, it looked like a landfill. I mean, we didn't really know it until we cleaned out the back of the village property. I mean, it was some tires and stuff, but it basically looks like a landfill. I mean,
so what do we do now?
I mean, the way the code issue is, I mean, you give them, that's the 30-day notice, but I mean, like you said, it's a health hazard. So, I mean, you passed that point.
But we have to issue that, and then
I mean,
if
the courtesy would be 15 days, and that's a courtesy. And then from the courtesy, you get another 10 days for the warning, which is the yellow sticker. Okay. And then from the yellow sticker, you get the orange, and the red.
Have we given any stickers? Have we given the first one?
Yes, we given a white, the white one, but that's just courtesy. And then you get them 15 days from 15 regular days, and then you go back and check and see if it's rectified, and then you give them another 10 days.
But I think if the issue is such that it is a health hazard, I mean, it doesn't hurt to have the health department, have the mayor or Ms. Pope contact the health department to come and take a look at it, even, to see what needs to be done. Maybe there's a way that we can circumvent all of those violations. You know what I'm saying? Each one we have to do if it's that serious.
Right.
So you probably need to.
And once again, to Brother Jamal's point, I didn't mean to throw you, and I don't think I threw you under the bus, bro, at all. But just to his point, it was in the backyard of this house. So the only way you could see it is if you cleared out the whole lot in front
Okay,
of us. So,
if you did some other code enforcement on us.
yeah, so it's like you got to, yeah. So it's like we have to go in. So some of this is in some of
Okay.
these these blighted abandoned backyards. If that's one of them, I'm afraid to look at some of these other ones that.
Well, we'll leave. I just think if it's that bad, let's go ahead and call in the reinforcement, call in the health department, let us tell us what we can do. And we need to handle that either in safety or law. But that needs to be handled. So, maybe the mayor can go check it out, call the health department.
Madam Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
since I have that address already, I can just go ahead and send them an email while we're speaking, because I do have their
Okay.
email because I'm the one who had to contact them regarding the house that me and Vice Mayor noticed on bills at 1023 bills. So I have his email. I'll go ahead and send it to them right now as we're talking.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Councilman Daniels also.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you to Jamal and his crew, because they brought it to our attention, and I've never seen anything like that ever in my life.
Okay.
So.
I have a quick question. I know this is not safety. We already had the safety meeting, but have you put the first sticker on already, Jamal?
Right.
Yes, it's the white sticker.
Okay, so they've only had the one so far, right?
Yes, I have to wait 15 days. Well, the way that the process is 15 days.
Right, but we may have to bypass the process if it's that bad.
Correct. Right. Okay.
And you said you're thinking we need to bring that up in law, Madam Chair, is what you're saying, suggesting? Bring that
Well,
up
I'm
in
just
law.
saying law or safety. I mean, the law is probably, we need to look at changing the time frame of issuing the first, the second, the third. At some point, you got to knock it down to 7 days. You get 7 days to rectify, not 35.
Yeah, I agree.
I like, Madam Chair, I got one more question for Mr. Willis. Mr. Willis, when will it find itself in mayor's court? Because it looks like they need to go in mayor's court after all those days
That's the
are
notice
gone
of the
by.
property. Well, that's the notice of the property lien, and that was one of the questions that I had with the previous manager, because evidently the manager has to, I guess, file the paperwork to take it to court. Or, I mean,
Well, they find themselves at our mayor's court, because I know when 1023 bills, when I first became the mayor, the gentleman was actually coming to court before that house fell down, and he was getting code enforced. And then after that, we didn't hear anything. I'm sure there probably was a capias out for him for not showing up. Yeah, so
Madam Chair.
I'll find out what I can though and get back with you on it.
okay, thank you.
Madam Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
to Jamal and Councilman Daniels, did you report that to your supervisor, who is Miss Donna Pope?
No.
Immediately.
No.
It was Friday, so today is Monday, and we concluded at 2:00. So I figured we would all speak today. So I believe, as Mr. Jamal said, he put the sticker on, but like you said, the chain of command, the process, I'm all for that. So,
Okay, so it's been.
we all need to do better.
So next time, I suggest you text the manager, and if I'm safe, you can text me, and don't let it go over the weekend. It could be done right away. You don't have to wait for anything in person. And Jamal should be part of Jamal's report.
All right, so let's go on to Serenity Park. Oh no, the home improvement. Okay, we did that, right? So we need to, the applications, Ms. Pope, how long is it taking?
We have 3 applications, and 2 of them still need additional documentations. With Ms. Watson has already sent them out letters, letting them know what they need. She checked off each one of them, let them know what they need. One only needs 1 additional quote. So the only thing they have to do is bring the quote, and then we can submit the documentation. 1 additional estimate. And the other two applicants that we had, they need to fill out additional paperwork.
Okay, thank you.
They
So-
need to bring, they need to submit additional documentation. Like, I think one of them needed to submit their deed, their home, that they were the owner of the home. So it was things like that. You know, like we were talking before, that application is very, it's very extensive. So some of our residents lose patience, but
So that's why we need to be kind of there with them to help them understand what they got to do before they start it. Okay. So on Serenity Park, why are we returning $3,700?
because that was the amount that was left after we did the gazebo, we did the basketball court, we ordered the benches, and then we were trying to order additional benches to use up the 3,600, but the vendor couldn't deliver them before the close of this the grant funding, which was 10/30.
Okay.
Question.
Yes, ma'am.
So the stuff had to be delivered. How about we just, we could pay for it. Sometimes delivery, you might get a Christmas gift after Christmas, but it's still on the way.
Yeah, it has to be with most of these grants, they have to be delivered, installed, invoiced. So
Right. Completed. Your aunts.
Well, I guess that kind of answered the question as well. So at this point, it's a done deal on the funds, because is there any other way that like we could have got a shed, or especially with the and it's a shame now. I wish we could have went back. Yeah, no, I'm just talking about moving forward though. On these grants, like when we have a dollar amount, I guess because you're already going through the vendor, you don't know how much you're going to spend and everything else like that. So is that why there's an excess of funds that's left over? Is that how this is occurring? Where you got 20,000, you anticipate spending XYZ, and then maybe something was less, and then you have this amount left over? Because just a little confused on.
Well, the grant is for $20,000. They're saying that you have $20,000 that you can spend, and so you're going to try to get close to it as you can, and there's still requirements even on just putting up the basketball courts. You had to have 3 different vendors. They had to have this. They had to have that. So it's not just let's go out here and buy a bunch of stuff and they're going to reimburse us for it, because they won't. We still have to follow their guidelines in ordering all of this equipment. Like it had even the benches, something as simple as the benches, it had to be commercial. And then they were talking about it had to be if they were to work so many hours, it had to be prevailing wage. So there's different requirements for that money.
So you're saying if we had a wish list, there's so many requirements, parameters. By the time all that money you're talking about, okay, all right, thank you. That makes sense.
So when we're doing the grants, we really need to look at, even if we go over, it's because you want to try to use it up. So it's all about making sure you're planning for that grant. You don't go over.
I agree with you on that one, Ms. Laverne.
All right, so I have a question. What is going on with the fence? It's been like that for like 2 weeks.
Are you talking about the mural fence? So the process of that, actually are
not the mural, the fence.
Yes, ma'am. So the fence behind it, we had to reinstall and reinforce the mural. So if you look behind it, it's no longer on those cinder blocks. So in order to do that, you had to make sure how much fence you needed behind that. On Friday, you go back in and test and replaster the mural piece. From that point on, you look at, and once you finalize that, there's going to be a brick walkway put in place. After that brick walkway, you'll decide if you want to put a brick wall behind it, or just that fake brick type of fence behind it. So that's just based upon just a community design. So the next 3 steps are, we already done the first one. You put it off the cinder blocks. The second step is you finish up the mural, because when you took it off the cinder blocks, there was some cracks in the mural where you had to repaint it. The third step is then you do a community meeting on what type of new type of fencing you want in there. Do you want it to be a brick that matches the brick that will go where the cinder blocks were taking place, or is it a brick backdrop of some other color? So that's the next
so,
step.
but my concern is the way it looks right now, the fences that is down, I mean, it takes away from the whole part. Why are those pieces still up against there? Should they not be removed or
Well,
somewhere?
so the pieces that were still there, if you're talking about the 2x4s that were there from last week, because we
I'm
reinforced
talking
it
about
last.
the fence that is the fence that was part
The
of.
actual, the
Ms.
white
Mitchell,
fence.
it's getting late. Can we stick to finance? And you and him had this conversation another
No,
time.
I mean, a lot of the stuff that we've been talking about is not all finance, but I'm just
Yeah,
concerned
you're
because of
right.
the way it looks. And so if we need to buy a
Okay.
new fence, let's do that, put that in the budget. We,
Oh, well, I mean, that's a different conversation. But if you were asking on the mural piece and how our planning process was, we were just waiting on a community meeting on what they wanted the fence to look like on the background of it. So
okay.
if you just
And
want
we're gonna buy that.
wooden, but yeah, if you want the wood removed, the wood will be removed on Friday from 12 to 2.
Thank you. All right, so the acquisition and demolition, I guess, Ms. Pope, is that what you were talking about? You're waiting for some information from Mr. Desai?
Yeah, vehicle removal.
Right.
To remove those vehicles off the lot. So, and the mayor had talked to Mr. Desai.
Okay, and the planning grant?
That project.
Which planning grant was that? Was that for the
That was
equipment?
for the land use, master plan.
Right, but was that for the mapping that he wanted to do?
Yes.
Okay. So it's on hold, meaning we still got the 20,000 or it's gone?
Well, we still have it, but it's they're currently not they're not going on with whatever process that was that they were gonna do. I don't know the full details of the mini planning grant.
Okay. So on page 14.
On page 14, the traffic signal replacement.
What are we replacing exactly?
The light.
What, a light or the whole fixture?
The whole fixture.
And that only costs $20,000?
After I talked to Stephanie, when I talked to Stephanie, she was saying it may be more than that, but when they do the design and they will be able to give us more of what the cost is actually going to be. But they have to, the people at CT, the engineers at CT and the design team have to start that project. And it'll be installed, they said, in spring, but of course she'll come back before then to give us a true estimate. But right now we have available 20,000 for that.
Okay, and she'll come back by the end of, before December, so we know how, because if it's gonna be more than 20, we have to supplement the rest, right?
Right. I can give her a call and see if she can give me something before December 31st or December, even before we even pass the appropriation, the legislation for the 2021 appropriation. So.
All right. Okay, so the all right, rapid response grant for the census.
So that one was spent, and I just have to do a final report on that. actually went to the village manager's email system, and I have it. I received it today, so I just have to send them, go through the process of sending them the final report. But that is done, and it was 10,000 allotted, and we spent 10,000.
Okay, so Ms. Pope, if you said that it was 10, we spent 10,000, but the finance report shows that we only spent about 8,200. On page 6 of the finance report. Am I not looking at that right?
Yeah, you're looking at that right, 82. Yeah, you're right. That was that correction that we were at, that Ms. Denson was asking me about, that $1,800 correction. That's where we took one of the charges away from that.
Oh,
So,
the one that you,
yeah, I had to correct. So when I'll contact the people this week and ask them, do we have to send that back, or we get to use it for a closing of the census?
okay, so we actually have not spent 10, right? That's what
No.
you're talking about back on page 2 on the reconciliation?
Right.
Okay.
So I'll mark that as 8,200. And then when I'm filling out the report, I'll ask them if I have to send that back, or just we can do like a census in the census bash, something for the community.
Okay.
So are we on 2020
Madam Chair.
coronavirus care?
Yeah.
Madam
Yes.
Chair, may I ask Donna a question? You know, we had a kickoff and you had food and stuff provided. Could you add that to that?
Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can do that, and just the census, and do some food, and maybe one of these Saturdays before it get real cold, like in the next week or so, have the people down. Maybe we can get them down. That's if they don't close down the city. So.
Okay, so what are you saying trying to do for Saturday?
End of census party, social gathering, if we can. May not be able to.
I'm totally against the gathering, but if you, I'm not doing.
I'll ask them for suggestions on what we can do.
Can we get gift cards and pass them out?
Yeah.
Gift cards, who would you get a gift cards to?
Well,
I don't want to give no gift card to somebody who didn't fill out the census.
Volunteers, maybe something other than meeting together and eating. No.
Well, let's find out what. Let her find out what is allowed.
Or maybe we can even buy some banners that are not particularly. I mean, don't have a date for the census. Maybe we can do a banner or something that'll go around the village. Thank you for supporting the census 2020 effort. I don't know.
Now, just thank you for supporting the census, because we will need it again in 10 years.
Okay. Yeah. So
but find out what you can do. Okay. Coronavirus.
So coronavirus, here you see the 3 amounts that were distributed. I know you wanted me to break that out. And so we received the 152,774, the 76,387, and the 126,844 for a total of 349,845. At 10:30, we had posted we had posted some receipts of 18, 7-Eleven, and that was mostly PPE supplies that we ordered online, but we charged it to the coronavirus fund. And so the adjustments that are going to be made before the end of this month is the adjustment to the employee salary. We can charge that there. We already ordered the sanitation stations. The building sanitation is being conducted every 2 weeks for 6 treatments, so they'll be finished the middle of December. Tax Connect, that is for Dee's computer. We have a meeting with the programmers this week, Thursday, so they can update her system to e-file, and also she added bridge payment systems on there so they can do online payments. So that's that 23-32. It's going to be called Tax Authority, where you can go in and go into your account and make a payment and do things like that, where you don't have to come down here. The bathroom upgrades, we're allowed to make them touchless. I got 3.
Ms. Pope, we can barely hear you.
Can you hear me now?
You're very low.
Can you hear me?
Barely.
Okay, got it all the way up, so.
Okay.
So Tax Connect, like I was saying, that's for Ms. Peterson's system, where you can go into your account, file your taxes, e-file, make payments and different arrangements like that. So it'll be an upgraded system. One other thing that we received, I asked for estimates on, is making all the bathrooms touchless. Toilets, sinks, towel dispensers, we can do that. And we received estimates on that came to 21,000. So I'll have to, the highest was actually 35,000, but that was a complete remodel of the bathrooms that are here in the village, in the administration side. So it would be the men's and the ladies' bathroom, a complete remodel. That was 35,000.
Ms. Pope, I have a question about the bathroom upgrades. So when you talk about the towel dispenser, now when you wash your hands and you go put your hand up under there, that's blowing the water. I mean, I don't know, but I think I would rather have the paper towels rather than having to put my hands and the water is going every which way. You know what I'm saying?
The sinks are going to be touchless, so you just put your hands.
Oh, I don't mind the sinks. I'm talking about the paper towel dispenser.
The soap is going to be touchless, and the paper towel is going to be paper towel. It ain't going to be that blow kind. It's going to be the paper towel.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And a towel come out.
All right.
So that one will be touchless. So we received an estimate from Holt House, AA Plumbing, and another group. And so we're going to call them this week and see if they can get on that. The community PPE supplies and the building PPE supplies, we called some of the churches and also St. Monica's, Friendship Plaza, Wycliffe. We got a list, and so we're going to go through and order PPE supplies for them. And then we'll order PPE supplies for this building, throughout this building. Safety uniforms in the service department, I asked Jamal to get me an estimate for, let's say, 5 uniforms and shoes, and because you can pay for that out of this CARES Act money. The possible new construction for building entryway, we took that out. Well, no, it's here. It's touchless entry. It's $49,079. We're not, so far, we're not gonna be able to do that. That's making all the doors, and especially this front entry door, touchless. And then we were gonna build, I think it's called a vestibule, where you come in and then you come in, that door is touchless. It's kind of like like when you go to your doctor's appointment, where you don't have to touch either door, and you come into the little hallway section or the little holding section, and then you go in. So we wanted to do something like that, but they won't be able to do it by 12/31. The people that we were talking to.
So we have $50,000 that we have to figure out how to spend.
Yeah, so
Okay.
we got 50,000. Now, I sent an email to the administrator at OBM, Ohio Business Management, but they're the people who are supervising the grant money. And he hasn't sent me an email back. I was asking him if we did the original plans, would we be able to use the CARES Act money for the plans to get that vestibule type door, if we could use it for that, but he hasn't responded back. And then I also asked him, can we use the CARES Act money to purchase a new vehicle, a truck for the service department? But he said that would be kind of hard to prove that you needed that because of the coronavirus. So,
Well, Ms. Pope, let me ask you this in terms of is something going on with our roofing, our air conditioning, heating? Don't we have some issues with that?
yes, and I was thinking that when I heard that Cranley was closing down the building to replace the air filters and something like that. So I was going to talk to Jamal about that tomorrow to see if that's something that we can replace. I believe they already did. I think him and Mr. Dukes already replaced some air filters, but if we can do that, that probably can take up some of that 49.
Right.
Even roof, I don't know if the roof would qualify. Because
well, I'm just saying anything that is allowing anything in. I mean, I know that we did a whole new air system at the health center as well.
Did it include the roof?
No, I'm just saying, well, I don't know if is our roof leaking anywhere? Is there something, if it's leaking water, if it's leaking, I don't know. I'm just saying anything that's going to help with ventilation and anything like that. I didn't know if we had something that needed to be taken care of.
Right, we do. We do. So I can send him another email and see if that would be an allowable expense, or what part of the roofing system would be allowable expense. It might be the air filters in the building or something like that. We can get somebody to do something. I know we have some electrical issues outside because that parking lot is dark. So it might be something that we could do. We can get, somebody to come and redo the outside fixtures so they work, because it's not as simple as just a bulb. It's some electrical issues that are going on with that. So continuing on the sheriff contract, I was going to use 133 to pay September and October's bill. And then with the CARES Act, we also can, you can upgrade all of your computer software systems. So I was going to purchase new computers, the actual computers that everybody has, upgrade them, because I think we're still on 8, 10, something like that. But and then get everybody a camera. We only ordered 3 cameras. Get everybody a camera for their desktop, and then get all new computers. And that was going to be about $15,000. and Terrence already looked up the information for the new computers. So all our computers will be updated.
When you say you mean the desktops, or you talking about the laptops?
I'm talking about the bottom part, the actual computer.
Are you talking about the CPU?
Yeah, your brain.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, not the monitors, not the monitors.
Monitors, but the CPU. All of those, everybody's
Right.
going to do one. And then that would total out the 349,845, except with the fact that if we can't build that door, we'll have $50,000 that we need to do something with. Now I got air filters, filtration. I have electrical. Any other suggestions?
Madam Chair,
Go ahead.
I would suggest higher speed Wi-Fi at the facility.
We already did that.
Did you already? Okay, because I was about to say, it seemed like you had some issues when you were in one room and another room, and then, okay, I just wanted to make sure.
But we had an employee that was having some issues with the frequency, so they turned it down a little bit. So, but so any other suggestions?
Can we get so how do we, our gates, what about our gates in the back? You know, they have to get out and touch the gates to open them. Can we get some electric gates?
That's actually a great idea if we can install a touchless one. That would work, because that's part of a door system.
Right.
So I'll check out touchless gates. Okay. And so that would be it of the funding reports, unless I missed something that you can think of, Ms. Mitchell. Oh, I did miss something on page 15.
Right. Oh, I was waiting on you to do something.
On page 15, we have the other CARES Act funding, which is, I put it just the initials, Board of County Commissioner, BOCC. So when you see that, that's the agreement that we signed and passed the resolution. So the only thing I have to do is submit invoices that total the 169,488, and that's just a simple reimbursement. So that's all we have to do that, and that'll be, and see, this right here is also a reason why we can order those police vehicles, because that'll be 169,488 right there, 483.
So the police vehicles are coming out of this particular account.
No, what this is, the 169, when we receive that, we'll put it into the general operating fund, because that's also where we pay our portion of the police department. So we'll just put $60,000 in the capital under the police department, and that'll be used for that. But this will go into our general operating fund revenue account.
Okay, explain that again, because you said you're gonna put 60 into the capital. So you're only gonna put 109 into the.
So the whole thing is going into our general fund.
Okay.
And because the general fund also supplements the payment of the sheriff's contract, we're just going to increase the appropriation for capital, in which we don't have an appropriation in capital for the police cars. So we'll increase that appropriation to $60,000 cost of the cars. Okay, the 2020 ODNR Nature Works. I believe Mr. Daniels had brought this up about the memorial field since Mr. What's his name? Carroll since we were talking to him about the grant, she was saying the in-kind services that they were going to provide for ODNR, the NatureWorks grant that we received. She can work with the team, I think it's Kleinger Group. She can work with them also in the design of that. So everybody's on the same page.
I think one of the things that we need to do, Ms. Pope and Mayor, is that we have not, I know that they said that they would, but we haven't received anything to say that they will. So somewhere along the way, we need to make sure we get a memorandum of understanding and what that cost would be so that we can show that when we do our ODNR report. So what does the amount of that in-kind services, what will it be? So we need to get an MOU on that. Just like we did with, Mr. Carroll.
Okay.
Stating that it was in-kind, volunteer, or whatever. We need that to show. That will help, wouldn't that help reduce our 22,000?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, it would. Okay, so the last thing that we have on here is the PEP grant, and that invoice was submitted, so I'm expecting that check anytime soon. It's going to be here before the 31st. I don't think the last time it took 30 days, but it should be here. And I'll let you guys know when it is here.
Thank you, Ms. Pope. Any questions for Ms. Pope on the grant funds that we haven't already asked? Okay. All right, on the service department budget.
Madam Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm inclined to make a motion, but I want to kind of get an understanding of what, are we going through this entire budget tonight?
No, we're not, because we should have gotten it beforehand. I guess the piece that I'm only really looking at, and you probably don't have it, Miss Key. We received, I think, I got so many papers, it's ridiculous. We received a 2021 proposed appropriation. But I gotta make sure, Miss Pope, we received two different ones. Wait a minute. I have one that has 370,000, and then is the one that you most recently gave us 356,000. Just the top sheet.
Okay, so yes, you already received the service budget. I think it was probably maybe even a month ago now.
Right, I have one dated October 19th.
Right, so what I did today was just updated some of Mr. Willis's numbers. I updated the ranges in the salary, and I deleted one service worker. And then also I just updated in the debt service area his payments for the different vehicles. I had to include a payment for.
Okay, so Ms. Pope, let me stop you for 1 minute. So tell me what is the bottom line figure so I know which one to look at.
It's gonna be the 356,964.
Okay. All right.
And so, Madam Chair.
Yeah.
I go back to my question. Are we looking at the adjustments that was made from the previous one that you were looking at? Or
Well-
what's the purpose of the review for the service department budget for right now is my
Well,
question.
first of all, we really haven't, it's not about a review, it's looking at it for the first time. We were supposed to have had a schedule of when we were going to look at each department.
Okay,
And because we just got this today, I think that the one thing that we really need to just talk about before we even look at this, because this would probably need to be revised. You have in this, we have all these different pieces of equipment. I want to say about $110,000 worth of equipment that has been requested, if my figures are correct. So I think we need to look at that and make those decisions, if any.
Okay, so if I can,
And I don't want to do it because of the time, and we just haven't had time to look at all of these papers. So I'm going to ask Jamal.
but before we go there, because it's if this conversation, it feels like, because there is so much detail, and if we just got it today, have we really truly had enough time to even digest it so that we even know what questions and things to ask? Because I want to have the conversation. I'm just questioning as to whether or not right now is the appropriate time to have the conversation.
Well, it is, because what we need to do is we need to find out. I'm not talking about which one. I need to know what is the equipment out of all these things that we have that he recommends we look at. Right? Do we need the lichens? To which truck? We got all these trucks.
okay, Ms. Mitchell.
It's just too much.
Ms. Mitchell, if I can answer that.
Right.
First of all, this is the same thing that he gave you, worksheet he gave you over a month ago. And we would go through it pieces, and we got so stuck on the truck that we need to purchase the snowmobile. So the snowmobile is in here. That's that annual payment, estimated cost is $74,000. The annual payment the down payment will be $16,500. That's the snowmobile, snow vehicle. I said snowmobile. Snow vehicle.
Right. I'm trying to. Okay.
That one is ready, and we went back and forth on whether to purchase it or not, or whatever questions we had. But Jamal actually had a different vehicle, and this is another option. This payment right here is lower. It's the cost of it, the total cost is lower. It's $74,000. The other vehicle that we were talking about a month ago, it was $80-something thousand. So this one is ready. This is the vehicle that we had already budgeted a snowmobile, a snow vehicle. And so this one is ready to be purchased this year out of 2020's budget. But I put it in 2021 because it's going to be a 5-year lease payment.
The 5-year for $16,000 a year. Is that the one?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you have that piece of paper.
Ms. Pope, I know we have all that, but then is that, I'm like Miss Key for real, because there's other stuff here that looks like there's more than one, like you got the turf, whatever, you got one or two of those. I think it's somehow we have to put this on a spreadsheet so that we're not looking at all these different papers and some of the information, well, for me, we may not, actually need, where it talks about the qualifications and things like that. It's just a lot of paper to sift through. And then we have this other vehicle. So what's the crew cab for $35,000?
Madam Chair. Please, Madam Chair.
I'm trying, wait a minute. So is that another truck or is that something else, Jamal?
That was because when we did 2020 budget, I didn't know they was buying a village manager a truck. I mean, I didn't anticipate that. But I mean, I was under the impression. I mean, my biggest priority was the snow truck. That was my biggest priority.
Okay.
Stuff that I budgeted in 2020 that I didn't even get. And I know because COVID, so I mean that's justifiable. I was just getting a series of quotes. But my priority was the truck. Only reason I got 2 different quotes for lawnmower, so you can X that out right now. You can push that to the side. I'm not. That's not what. If I prioritize everything, I need the snow vehicle. That's my #1 priority.
Okay. So
Madam
again,
Chair.
it would be helpful if we had a spreadsheet or something that simplifies all these papers. Ms. Ms. Keith.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to go through the details, but so I
don't
want
have
to say
time to go
something.
through details tonight. But
No,
go ahead.
but not tonight, not tonight.
Right.
But we budgeted for a snow truck for this current year. We also budgeted for a vehicle for the administrator, whoever that may have been.
Right, we got that.
We have that. So we budgeted for a snow truck. We should be purchasing a snow truck this year. We had the budget for it. That's what I don't understand. That's why I understand why it's even being proposed for, and maybe it's just being proposed
for 2021.
For 2021, but we should have one this year. We should already have one purchased. And if that's what this conversation is about, I think we've already done that. We just need to buy the truck.
I agree.
So Ms. Pope, what are you saying, Ms. Pope? Did you budget you?
No, that's why.
It was already discussed and budgeted for last year. What happened was because
2019?
of COVID, 2020 and the 2019 conversations of vehicle for the department was already discussed and already agreed to. Because of COVID-19, that vehicle didn't get bought, but Jamal presented a ready to go snow vehicle, but we kept going back and forth that we needed to purchase. And at one of the conversations, they had already sold it. It may still be available now, but this one that's in here is less than the one that. But I put this in here just because next year it will be a payment that we have to make, not because it's something new to you. You already have he already gave you the documentation a long time ago. You have the documentation.
Right, but you're giving us some different documentation. So what we want to do is supplant the 74.3 for the 85 truck, right?
Yes.
Madam Chair.
Madam Chair.
Oh, it's Ms. Jeter.
Yes, Mayor.
All you need to do is purchase the truck.
Okay, my concern is, are we purchasing the 74? Is that what Jamal wants to purchase as opposed to the $85,000 truck?
That's what he's there. He can answer that. My thing is that, and I can't talk over you because I'm coughing. That's why you don't see me and I keep going to mute. If we keep going around about money, if it's already been determined that we're going to purchase it, if it was for $50,000, purchase the truck. We need it. Snow is coming.
Nobody is saying not to purchase it, Ms. Jeter. The concern was just which one. So, and my question to him also was about the crew cab. Is that another truck? What is that?
Well, can we finish this and then go to that?
If we're going to get the truck, that's a no-brainer if it's already, unless Ms. Pope is saying, rather than the reason she put it into 2021, because is that when the first payment would be? Is that what you're saying, Ms. Pope?
Payment that's going to be due this year too at signing. And then I put this in 2021 because of course it's going to be a 5-year lease, whichever vehicle we choose to get. That if you want to, because I believe Jamal just told me that truck was still available. Is it still available Mr. Willis? I don't know where he went.
I'm right
He's
here.
there.
Is it still available?
Yes.
Okay, so we can get either truck because we had discussed about it last year. If
Okay, so
Jamal
which
goes
truck
up
are we
there,
gonna get? Which truck are we getting?
Jamal, which truck you want at this point? Which truck you want?
It don't,
Right, that's what I'm
it
asking.
don't, I mean, the one that I
which
budgeted, because I
truck?
did a spreadsheet on it already, but I mean, if the one
Jamal,
is,
Madam
Just pick a truck,
Chair,
bro. Just pick a truck. 7484, Jamal. Just say
Right.
one. Just say one, Jamal. 7484, man, please.
just give
Say
me
one.
the,
84.
just give me the one I already spec'd out, because it's
All right,
better
84.
benefits.
84. We're going with 84.
so,
okay, so
Madam Chair, I'm sorry, Mrs.
Yes,
Pope.
Mayor.
So how, it's about to be 10 o'clock and I could tell Miss Lisa is getting worn out and some of us been able to get off the phone and you know, get something to drink or something, but how long is your meeting gonna take? Because why don't we just say, get the truck? How long is it gonna take for the truck to come, Mr. Willis?
That truck is already ready. I just have to go get it. The guy needs a
That
PO.
check.
He just needs a PO,
Invoice.
and they have to send the whatever finance and forward a call later. The guy just needs a PO. That's all he
All
needs.
right.
okay,
He was just trying to figure out where it was gonna come from. That's what's been the I don't want to say the problem, but that's what's been coming these last couple months.
Jamal,
Go get the
Yes,
truck.
ma'am.
go get
Right,
the
I mean,
truck.
that's already been
Yeah.
decided that which one he's gonna get, right?
Yeah,
You getting the 85. All right.
Jamal,
Yes.
be patient, please.
I
Be
Okay.
patient.
Madam
I-
Chair,
It's hard.
Madam Chair. Mr. Willis, Ms.
Yes.
Pope, if we find that we need additional funds to get the truck that you want, just come back to council and say, I need these funds to get the truck. We need the truck. We budgeted for the
But we
truck.
don't. We've got it because it's already been budgeted for this year, she said.
No, what I'm saying is that's been budgeted for this year, but if he decides to get a truck that's more than what we budgeted for, just come back so that we can look at funds to move funds to get the truck that we need.
But we budgeted for the higher one. That's what we're saying.
No, we
Oh,
didn't.
okay. I'm sorry. I didn't know.
We
That's what you said.
didn't?
No, we didn't.
Okay.
But we will, I'll give them a PO number and then I'll let you guys know how much we need. Put it this way, there's money left because we didn't buy anything this year.
Yeah.
So we probably won't have to make a reappropriation because it's there. We didn't spend any money this year.
Let's get it started.
Madam Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
to Ms. Pope, you just
Yes.
can't pay, we just can't pay for it since we haven't bought anything?
No, we can't afford 75,000 because we don't have money for that. Well, we have it, but no. I'll get back to you on that question.
All right, so this, I think the other thing that we have to look at as we end this meeting, we need to stick to a schedule. I am very disappointed that we did not do our scheduling the way Mr. Pope had in the beginning, where each meeting we did part of the budget. We've only done what, the fire and safety, fire and police. And if we stick to that and do one each time, otherwise, I mean, it's the end of November, we are going to be going into December. And so question becomes, when do we next look at the service department budget? And it should be the first one. I mean, I think this is one of the first times that we've had service budget of this high. So, Ms. Jeannie, Vice Mayor.
So we are gonna go over this again, because I had a question.
Right, I mean, you go ahead and ask your question, but
I just want to know what was the training that was used for the service department, because I see this says for 2021 CDL license, and of course I think that somebody should have a CDL license, but haven't we paid for this? It seemed like we pay for this every year that I'm on council, but nobody passes. So
we
if we keep
budget.
paying for this license and we can't get past, then we need to have something where we get reimbursed. Because I got some courses I'd like to take too.
Vice Mayor,
Yes.
we budgeted, but they have not, no one in the service department has taken their CDL test. So, for a CDL license, for next year, you can see I have a blank because, the new vehicles that we're getting, it does not require a CDL license like that one truck that we have, but they won't go take the test.
What do you mean they won't go take? Do they have the training?
The training that they found was a day training, and we couldn't afford to allow one person to go during the day to get training for the CDL.
Why not? I mean, to
Because
take
it was
a
almost like a 40-hour week training. Like they went every
you said
day.
a day. Oh, okay.
And our staff is not that big where we can afford to let somebody go for a whole week of training.
You got to look at
Couldn't
the
we
bigger
have-
picture, I'm thinking.
Right. I mean, we could
But
have
we
got.
only have
When would they be
temporary.
able to do it?
We only have 3 people right now, so.
Because that's what folks said. They only wanted 3. We could have had an alternate or something so that we
Right, all
could
you
get
need
the
is
training.
one person to come in temporary or something, but if we're saying that they need to get the training. I mean, there's no different than if somebody goes on vacation.
Because you get a raise every year. When do we cap out on the raise? That was my other question. What's the cap out on the raise? Because you have a range. Do you keep getting a raise every year? We got to have a range. What is the range? We already know they're underpaid, but what is the
range
range?
is up to $19, $21, depending on, what service level you come in at. But again, you talk about.
What salary is that, done?
Huh?
What salary is that? Because I'm thinking we can't.
Well.
You got to show growth in order to get growth,
All right,
is what I'm
let's see what
saying.
Okay.
I know that there's a lot of work for them, but it's few people. So we pay them because it's a few people that got to do a lot of work, or we pay them because they're gaining skills that's making not only them better, but the village. I'd rather invest in CDL license and things like that.
When you talk about raises, the other thing is that just across the board, or are we talking about evaluations that haven't happened? So, okay, so that's a lot to talk about. I think we need to look at trying to set the schedule to go over each pieces of the appropriation that we have to do. And one of the things that we did not do was actually look over the 2020 appropriation to see where we are and,
Madam Chair,
we got to get back on schedule. That schedule that we have, we need to get back on schedule. Yes, ma'am.
is it okay to put that out there that we need to go ahead and reschedule? Because like you said, it ain't going away. And if we haven't discussed it.
Right. I will get with Ms. Pope and we will come up with another schedule because we're gonna be running out of time. And hopefully when the manager comes, we need to have something in place that makes it easy for her to change if necessary.
And Madam Chair, will you include all the departments?
Yeah, I mean, that's how we did it before. Yeah, each piece that we have to have.
Madam Chair, one more question. Madam Chair, one more question. Have we gone through any departments at this point?
Right, that's what I said. We did the fire and police.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so I'll just encourage everybody to make sure you look at the other pieces that's under the service. Again, whatever the crew cab is, looking at the turf thing, and definitely taking a look at the gas thing for lichens, because that's an OSHA problem. And I think since I've been last couple of years, I've been talking about OSHA quite a bit. So we got that tank that needs to be changed, painted, or fixed or
Replaced.
something. Okay, so make sure we go through and look at those things. So we can do away with the Crossroads Ford truck, right?
Madam
The
Chair.
Crossroads Ford is what we throwing out the door.
Ms.
Right.
Mitchell, Ms. Pope is trying to say something
Oh,
to
I'm
you.
sorry.
Madam Chair, can, as we don't, do, Monday, we're supposed to do the budget in its entirety. If that's not gonna happen, if we include it in on another committee meeting, can we make that, new business so we can talk about that first? Opposed to talking to any normal business, like say if we put it in finance, if we do it at a finance committee, can we
Ms.
make?
Pope, we can't wait till the third meeting in December.
I'm just saying, if we do it at a committee meeting, can we make that the first item? Because that's what's going on. I've been giving you guys these budgets, but we don't get to them because we have so many other things to talk about. So can we make that however it's gonna happen? Can we make the budgets be a new business agenda item, first agenda item?
Well, maybe we
That
just
would be a
need to,
good
if
idea.
it's old business, maybe we just need, because it is the appropriation. That's up to the other chairs. I'm just saying we need to get it done. So let's schedule it, put it out there, and then see.
Madam Chair,
Wait a minute, Ms. Jeter. Jamal had his hand up.
Will you elaborate on this gas pump?
We cannot wait. Is that what you
I
said?
can't, yeah, because that diesel tank freezes in the winter, and it's times when I can't get gas, and we don't have no gas station out here, and that's for me to have to drive to Woodline. That's time.
Okay, so you're saying that this $8,000 we need to consider right now.
That's the tracking system that can wait to 21. I'm dire needed the diesel tank, and it's already cracked, so it's leaking, and we passed our little inspection from the county, but that tank is leaking.
It's been leaking. It's been messed up for a minute.
Yes.
How much is that?
It's $3,800.
Get
All
it.
right, so Ms. Pope, do we have that in the budget? Because I'm all for that, because I know that's
I don't
key.
want no fires.
That's
Yeah,
key.
we had a cleanup around there. We had the inspection with the stormwater district, so we kind of told them in compliance. But that tank, the way that gravity fed tank, those are illegal. You only can have them like on farms or somewhere far off road.
$3,800. Those you don't have to come to council for that, do you? We
No,
pay more
but
for that
it's-
for a cable.
Right. It's because it's a tracking system, and that's because when the sheriff's coming in all these multiple vehicles, in order for us to be able to track where gas come from and all that, and the system that we have is like 30 years old.
I don't
But,
care nothing about tracking. I don't want my friends blown up. I'd rather the safety part.
Right. Yeah. So
$4,000, man.
All
Get
right,
that.
so that if our 2020 appropriation was $308,000, and we have only spent, what, 167? And you take out the 85, out of that 167, that leaves another $80,000. Is that right, Ms. Pope? So we are able to purchase the $3,800 tank.
Ms. Jeter, you okay? I'm sorry.
Ms.
Yeah.
Pope?
Yes, we're allowed to purchase that. We're able to purchase that.
Okay. So, I mean, there's not a problem, I mean, because of the amount that is a purchase that you can give him a PO for, right?
That wasn't a problem. I just put it in 2021 budget.
Huh?
I just put it in 2021 capital as a item for 2021. That's all. It's not a problem purchasing something for $3,800.
Okay, so for the month of November,
Now that I know it's a necessity.
say that again?
I said, now that I know the emergency part of it, yes, we can go ahead and purchase it.
Okay, so this month we'll be spending roughly about $90,000 for those two pieces, right?
we're not gonna purchase the
Well, you know
vehicles
what I mean?
like that.
That's
That's a,
going to happen. I know you're not going to purchase the truck outright,
yeah.
but
So that's
it's a
$10,000.
purpose.
Or
Okay.
it's probably gonna be about 20,000. Well, the 73 was 16,000. So if it's 85, it's probably gonna be closer to $20,000 down payment.
Okay.
So so then it'd be 23,
About
24.
25. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right.
Madam Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
they're trying to say something. As far as the meetings are concerned for this budget that we're doing, can we do 30-minute Zoom meetings and just limit it at that to take care of some of this during this week in the evenings?
I got a question. Do they always have to be Zoom meetings, or can it be one of those Microsoft Team meetings?
Oh, Lordy. I don't know about Microsoft Team. I just got off of Microsoft Team earlier today. What's the difference between it? I don't like Microsoft Team, but go ahead.
Okay.
What's the difference?
Duran's probably can answer this.
Anyway,
But
you can.
I think it's just, we can just, it'll be like us planning a meeting. We don't have to go through ICRC. I don't know.
It's
But,
still going to be considered a meeting
It's a
because
meeting.
you all
It's a
together.
public meeting, right?
Oh,
Still considered.
So it doesn't matter which medium you use, GoTo or Blue Jeans. It doesn't matter. It still has to be put out there.
Madam Chair,
okay.
Yes.
at this appropriations meeting, are we going
Can't hear you.
I'm sorry, at this appropriations meeting, is it the time when we will have our budget requests? I haven't heard this year. If I'm missing it, then I apologize. Each year you ask for us to present budget requests. Like last year, I asked for $12,000 for recreation. So are you asking for us to present, each member of council present their requests this year, or are we not doing that again?
I don't have a problem with doing that, Mr. Daniels. To me, I think that would have come up when we did General Village, but we haven't done General Village. You know what I'm saying? So I'll get with Ms. Pope. We'll come up with the schedule, and yeah, everybody should have an opportunity to say what they think we need to include in the General Village.
Thank you.
I mean, you can make it specific as far as recreation or whatever.
Yeah, okay.
All right. So Ms. Pope, I will get with you. We know that can I get, well, before we close out, it needs to be a motion to recommend to council to accept the finance report.
Motion to council that we approve the October 2019 finance report.
Second.
Been properly moved in second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any abstentions or oppositions? No. Thank you. Ms. Pope, were you getting ready to say something?
No, ma'am.
How's it feel? Okay, you see your toy right back there in the thing, turn around.
All right, so Ms. Pope, I will get with you.
I'm sorry, Madam Chair. I just wanted to let the Vice Mayor know, because I know when we back away, you usually go on mute. So I don't know if she doesn't know that she's not on mute, Vice Mayor, because I know how that is. I just want to let you know. I just want to let you know.
I'm giving my baby a bath. I don't care. Everybody needs to know it.
You're all right. Yes, ma'am. I just want to let you know you weren't on mute.
All right. All right, so Ms. Pope, I will get with you and so that we can work out the rest of the budget thing that we need to, so that we are not at the midnight hour trying to do our 2021 appropriation. Mayor,
I was just gonna ask, can we also include the mayor so we can go ahead and just get all of them?
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, that's the way they were set up. And actually, I don't know, maybe I sent it to, I thought I was sending it to everybody. I may have just sent it to just Miss Jeannie. Mayor, earlier in the meeting, we were talking about the solicitor contract. And so we asked that he be able to address us as committee of the whole, as opposed to waiting till the December meeting. Mayor.
I'm sorry, I had to quiet some kids down. You want, yeah,
Put him
You-
on the
you want-
council of the whole agenda.
okay. You want him to decide to speak at the council of the whole meeting?
Right, to discuss how he does his billing.
Okay,
All right.
I can do that.
All right, if there is nothing else, motion is in order. Ms. Key?
Motion to adjourn.
Oh, okay. I
Second.
thought you said something.
Second.
All right, been properly moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you.
Good night.
All right.
Right.